If you're happy with the same old ways of dating,
If you enjoy sucking at communication,
and you have no desire to improve your romantic life, then our podcast might not be for you.
but if you want some out-of-the-box ideas to deepen your current relationships,
broaden your sexual horizons,
develop a better understanding of yourself,
or learn more about non-monogamy,
Then you've come to the right place. I'm Jase,
I'm Emily.
and I'm Dedeker.
and this is the Multiamory podcast.
Songs I know I did, forcing me to form myself to fit.
On this episode of the Multiamory podcast, we are celebrating our 2-year anniversary, or as Dedeker likes to call it, our deuce-anniversary?
Our deuce-anniversary? I mean, no, we called it a multiversary the first time, which sounds like the multiverse, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
But I thought to
Nice.
to switch it up, we call it the deuce-anniversary, the double deuce-anniversary,
Okay, yeah.
our
the
two-anniversary, our terrible twos. Oh, man, we're starting our terrible twos now.
We're in the terrible twos.
Uh-oh.
It's all
Ooh,
downhill
yeah.
for another year. Sorry, guys.
I don't think it's downhill, because when a child is in the terrible twos, it just means that they finally have come into their own power. And it's the
Yeah, that they
power
can
to
walk
like
around
wreak
and destroy
destruction and
shit.
havoc. Exactly.
They're just testing
Okay,
their boundaries.
I see.
They
That's
get
what
more
we're doing.
respect. That's the thing, is like we've been crawling for long enough. Now we're standing on our own
I
2
see.
feet, and we're getting close to being potty trained. And now we can just like speak our mind, and everyone's afraid of us. No one wants to mess
Yeah.
with us.
We can
I'm
grab
definitely afraid of
shit
us.
and fuck shit up, like
Mm-hmm.
change the status quo of the world. I don't know.
Yeah, we can run
okay.
around. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Great. We're in the terrible twos. I like
yeah.
it. I'm into it.
Congratulations to us.
Yeah.
So I did consult with the internet, and the traditional second anniversary gift is cotton. Apparently, the modern one is China, though. I
Like
don't know
the
who
country?
comes. Like the country, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Just gift China to someone.
You just
Do
give
people
China
even
to
have
somebody.
China anymore? Like just in their homes?
People who get married get China, right?
Like nice China? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sure.
But
I
cotton,
guess
what does
people-
that even mean? Like what do you give like some cotton?
Like a tampon.
I hope not. Dear God.
Mm-hmm.
Or perhaps an attractively knitted scarf
That's
that's
sweet.
made out of cotton. I
I mean,
don't.
there's
mean-
a lot of things that can be made out of cotton. You know,
Yeah.
you could give each other really nice tailored shirts,
Oh.
Oh.
Cotton
or
shirts.
That'd be
or
nice.
some like really nice socks.
Yeah.
Nice cotton socks. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of things you could give for a cotton anniversary.
Cotton
Seriously
versus-
though. Sorry, go ahead, Jace. I was just
I
about to
was just
express my
gonna say,
extreme excitement over being 2 years old.
Oh, okay, yeah, you do that, because I was just gonna say that I still really want us to make actual print versions of our "When You Want to Snoop, Keep Your Partner in the Loop" '90s style T-shirts that we designed for that episode
With the rainbow font.
with the rainbow spray paint font, like
Oh my
so
God.
super '90s.
The
Oh,
thing
yeah.
is, though, I don't think that many people will get the irony.
Yeah, they'll just think that we're lame.
They'll just think that we like designed really bad T-shirts from the 90s.
Yeah, but tell us about why you're so excited about us being 2.
Okay, in the world of podcastery,
Mhm.
Multi-podcast.
there are winners and losers. There are
Yeah.
winners and losers, right?
Yeah.
And
I
most
don't know if I
people
like
who
where this is going. Okay, go on.
start up a podcast, they don't make it very far, right?
Mm, yes.
You know,
just peter out.
They
The
kind of
pod-
peter out. They
Pod fade
yes.
is the term for this.
The pod fade, exactly, exactly.
Oh.
Like the mortality rate on infant podcasts is not great.
Very
It's
high.
the
And it makes
dark
sense.
ages.
I mean, because first of all, like the appeal of creating a podcast is like, well, that's simple. Like I'm just going to get together with my friends and just talk about stuff, or maybe just
or
me
even
and
sit
just
here
talk
by
about
myself.
stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, and just like upload it to iTunes and then let it take off. Like that's easy. But then podcasting at the same time is also very difficult, as we've learned, which, you know, things like,
Yes.
okay, we've got to coordinate 3 people's different schedules to meet every
Yeah.
single freaking week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
we
and
need
one
to
of them is
promote
on the
on
other
social
side of the
media.
world.
Exactly. Sometimes 2
Yeah.
of them are on other sides of the world.
Yeah, for sure.
We need to edit the stuff. We need to make sure that like we sound good and that we, you know,
Yeah.
don't sound like a cat being dragged backwards through a garbage truck.
Yeah, we got to find ways to keep growing the show, and so we're not just kind of talking about the same stuff again every
Exactly.
week.
We got to reach out to our audience. We got to find guests. We have to maintain an attractive website, And so, of course, like it makes sense why these things tend to peter out so quickly. And
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. I feel really good about us because like this has been a labor of love for so long that has not been like profitable. That is none of our day jobs.
Right.
Unfortunately.
And that sometimes has been unpleasant. Sometimes we get like really negative things from people on the internet, which is unavoidable.
Good old internet.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, by like sticking through it and trucking it out, like now we've gotten like a great audience and like wonderful people who interact with us. And like we've made friends and contacts through this podcast. And
Definitely.
it's just, I don't know. I'm just really proud of us. That's all.
So thank you also to all of our listeners and the people who make this possible.
Yes. So we put together a little list of some things that have happened in the world of multiamory over the past couple of years. From our humble beginnings recording by crowding around one microphone in my friend's
Under a
living
blanket.
room. No, well, our very first one was just in my friend's
that's
living room
right.
up in Seattle. when
Yeah,
we were
that
up
was
there
great.
The dog
on
and
a
everything.
trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the Yog there. From our very humble beginnings to then building little forts out of blankets to try to get our audio a little bit better.
Yeah.
To eventually getting more microphones, and then later Dedeker traveling and needing to get her a travel setup, and just all the different steps this has gone through.
Yeah.
So the first one is that our website has been totally redesigned twice. So it's gone through three totally different iterations in the time that we've had it. What else? We had a bunch of stuff that happened just in the last year.
We made the beginner's guide.
Yeah.
Beginner's Guide, which you can find on our site, which is links to different blog posts and podcast episodes on our page, specifically tailored to different topics for beginners, people who are just getting into polyamory right now.
Jase, for a hot minute, as you've said, the Multiamory Minute came and went.
Yep, did some
Is
episodes of the
maybe coming
Multiamory
back?
Minute.
Is it going to come back?
Well, we definitely have had as one of our reasons for doing the Patreon is to be able to do more video content. Whether that's the Multiamory Minute or other things is something that's been debated a little bit, because there's a lot of different things we could do with video.
Yeah.
Whether it's trying to put out sort of more funny, informational videos with the three of us, or things that are more like little vignettes,
questionnaires, or
graphic videos, or Multiamory Minute. And that segues into the fact that we launched our Patreon just a few months ago. Like 2.5 months ago, I guess.
Yeah.
We launched our Patreon, which is super exciting because that's been by far the most direct way that we've been able to interact with our community of listeners. The amount that we've been able to interact with them has been amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I don't want our listeners to think that, like, we're super excited about the Patreon just because, like, there's money involved. Like, actually, like, really, like, the most rewarding thing has been that it's really put us into direct contact with our listeners. Like, we've got people who are in this private Facebook group who are, like, posting links and, like, talking about the episodes and asking questions, and people who came to our discussion groups. Like, it's been
that was
great
awesome.
to connect to our audience on a deeper level than just, like, liking it when they tweet at us. To actually have an ongoing conversation has been super exciting.
Yeah, and that Facebook community has become such a great community for discussion too, that it's a place that I will go as well. Like if I have a question about something, or something came up in conversation that I've been kind of mulling over, I'll post it on there, and I get amazing responses from the people that are part of that. It's been really, really cool.
Yeah.
And there, there are also some people who are in there just because they like to read all that stuff and aren't the ones actively posting. There's a whole range, but it's been great. And it does, honestly, the Patreon does help us to do other things like some video content, which I'm hoping to start bringing back.
For sure.
What else?
We joined 2 different podcast networks. The first one was the Erotic Awakening podcast, and then most recently we're on the Swing Set Network podcast. No, wait, the Swing Set Network. Period.
The Swing Set Network. The Swing Set.
We're not a podcast within a podcast.
No, they already have a podcast.
Yes. Nice. We're also now averaging over 10,000 downloads a month.
That's
which
awesome.
is really exciting, and we're approaching 85,000 total downloads. And this is kind of fun. Dedeker and I were looking at our analytics. We've been downloaded in 106 different countries.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Multinational.
Yeah, multinational.
Have we been downloaded on any other planets yet? Are we multiplanetary yet?
Oh, I hope so.
Oh man,
be great.
Beam me up, Scotty.
I don't know if there have been any like space mission launches since we started this podcast, but theoretically an astronaut could have put it on their iPod and like brought it with them.
That's true.
So cool.
And if they land on Mars, then we will be multiplanetary.
Well, my question, but what if there's like an alien civilization that has been like able to access like broadcasts from Earth?
Obviously, they've been here for a while already, downloading all our stuff, pirating our stuff.
Yeah, it's just that like they don't send us back any like metadata, so we don't get the analytics from that.
Right.
But,
Yeah. So just a fun little observation here. Our number one most downloads per country is from the United States. But the list of the top 6 countries is the United States, Canada, the UK, Australia, Sweden, Germany, and Japan.
That's 7.
Top 7? Yeah, I can count.
Yeah.
Top 7 countries.
That's 7.
Which is pretty exciting. Dedeker, you pulled out one little statistic.
Well, Japan
here
primarily because of the missionary, quote unquote, missionary work that Jase and I were doing. As in just telling people about it when we've been there.
Spreading the gospel of multiamory.
Spreading the gospel of multiamory. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and then randomly, 27 downloads in Iran.
That's amazing.
Of all places.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
And now we have a super fun game that we want to play
with Emily.
Emily. It's called the Make Emily Guess. The game. Okay, so what would you guess is our number one most downloaded state in the U.S.?
California.
Bing, 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 bing.
Bing, 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 bing.
Okay, now.
But the grand prize.
What is number 2?
New York.
Survey says New York was 4th. Another try.
Oh, how many guesses does she get? 2 more?
Yeah, 2 more guesses.
Okay.
Texas?
Wow, you did it.
Oh my god.
That's it.
Well, it's
Texas
also a large state, so...
It is a large state.
Well, that's what I said. It's a very large state. Statistically, that would make sense.
I was going to say Washington State, but then I decided to say Texas.
Washington State is number 5.
Really? What's number 3?
Ontario, Canada. I mean, well, I guess I did say the United States.
In United States.
That's true. I guess I meant North America. I don't know politics and geography. Bleep bloop.
Bleep bloop.
Bleep bloop.
Bleep bloop. Okay, I have another really fun game that I want to play.
Oh gosh, what game is this?
Okay, this is the Make Jase Cry game.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to take a second just to read some of our most recent iTunes reviews from some excellent listeners. Just to kind of reiterate what we were saying earlier is that, you know, the encouragement and the feedback that we get from our audience is really like one of the main things that has kept us going with this podcast. You know, it's what's encouraged us to jump through all the hoops of like organizing our schedule every single week and setting aside multiple hours in order to record each episode. But I have to say, I'm proud of Jase for right now chugging a beer to make sure that he's tipsy enough to handle crying while reading reviews. Okay, so here's a couple that stood out to me. So this was posted to iTunes by username Lindy Megan. She says, I'm assuming it's a she, says, these 3 have the most thoughtful, smart, useful podcast out there on alternative relationships. All that, and it's seriously entertaining too. They do a great job at sharing their own viewpoints and others, and I often find myself nodding in agreement at whatever advice they happen to be doling out. After trying all the other poly podcasts out there and almost starting my own out of frustration, I feel like I hit the jackpot when I found these guys. Heart.
Oh, I remember emailing with her.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
did
one
you?
was a nice one.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's awesome.
And then the other one that stood out to me, this is from Mickey1979B, who says, I've really enjoyed how this trio approaches poly in a very compassionate and upfront way. The hosts make you feel like you're just listening to a group of friends talk about life and relationships. And since they've walked the walk, they have many wonderful insights to offer. Are you crying yet? Is Jase crying yet? Is
He's
Jase
on the
crying
verge of the tears.
yet? Is he on the verge of the tears?
Shut up. Got your faces. Fine.
Anyway, I don't trot out the iTunes reviews just for us to be like masturbatory or really even to make Jase cry, because I don't like making Jase cry.
Yeah, you do.
The thing is that if anyone who's been on the internet in the past 200 years understands that the internet can be like a really dark, really hateful, really horrible like den of scum and villainy and the worst of humanity. And so when people actually take the time to like say something nice and to put something positive out there instead of like taking someone down, like it really stands out and it really, really makes a difference. You know, all three of us have gotten hate in separate ways from different mediums, from idiots on the internet. And even though it's like, yeah, whatever, it's idiots on the internet, like it can still get to you, you know, it can still kind of drain your energy that little bit. And so just having people in our audience who are willing to extend themselves to us and just extend a little bit of positivity, like it really, really goes a long way.
Yeah,
So
thank you for
guys.
that. Thank you very much.
We really do appreciate it a lot.
Yeah.
It means a lot to us.
Absolutely.
Okay, speaking of that, if you guys want to write your own iTunes review, as we said, it would really, really help us. Not only does it help us feel better, but it also helps us show up earlier in search rankings. It helps more people find us and more people be able to listen to our show. So just go ahead and leave a review either on iTunes or Stitcher, and there are other ways that they can support us, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dedeker, you were talking earlier about how, that there are a lot of people out there who might have questions or the specific things that they want to have covered on the show or that they would like us to discuss on the show. And that one of our Patreon rewards, we were talking about Patreon earlier, but you can pledge at different tiers per month. And at our highest level, which is only $15 a month, which is pretty cheap in terms of other podcasts, the highest levels out there. But in addition to, the private Facebook group and the monthly video discussions and access to the Patreon feed, the thank you videos and all those things, we also will, prioritize you or guarantee to put your question on the air if you would like us to. And that's something that's a really cool opportunity to actually get that kind of discussion and hopefully then get feedback from other people in the Facebook group and other things like that. And just that there's all different tiers. And like we were saying, that those Patreon contributions, if that seems like an amount of money that's like, yeah, I could handle giving that amount of money to people that are doing something that I like, that helps us to put out more content, which is something that we're really hoping to do moving forward in this next year is getting a lot more resources in place, like we've already done with the Facebook group and the online discussions, but doing more video content and other ways to try to get stuff out there.
Yeah.
And then if you do have a specific topic or a specific question, or if there's some kind of problem or a challenge that's shown up in one of your relationships and you don't necessarily want the three of us chuckleheads to discuss it all out in public on the air, then you can come to us for one-on-one coaching.
Yes.
And information for that is available on the Multiamory site.
So now, in the spirit of talking about this last year, I feel like it was just a couple months ago that we were doing our last anniversary episode, which is crazy to me.
It's like it was like last month, right?
But then when we look at all those things that happened in the past year, like there's so much that's gone on with Multiamory and in our own lives in this past year. It seems like so much has happened at the same time that it seems like it was just a few days ago. So we wanted to kind of do like some little mini discussions about some things that each of us have identified as like changes or turning points or areas of growth and experiences that we've had in our lives over this past year.
Yeah. I'll go first.
Okay.
The thing that I kind of had was a better ability to communicate with my current partner who has a communication style that's very different from my own. We've talked a lot about chewers and spewers on this podcast, and I have always considered myself to be a spewer, but there's my partner is definitely a chewer. And from that standpoint, it's nice to, yes?
Can you just recap what those terms mean?
Recap that
absolutely
really super briefly so we don't confuse everyone.
So, okay, I apologize. I mean, as a spewer, that means that I tend to, say what's on my mind. I'm rather emotional. I just will say whatever comes to mind in terms of like something that I'm feeling right then, and not necessarily with a lot of regard for like, is this really what I'm thinking, or do I need to think about this for a while or whatever? I just will kind of like say it. And to me, like, it's helpful to communicate in that way and be able to be like, okay, this is what I'm feeling right now. Let's talk about it and let's get it all out there.
Part of your processing is kind of talking it out.
Yes,
and getting it outside of you.
Absolutely. And then on the other spectrum, my partner definitely likes to sit there. He's a chewer and likes to think about his problem for a while, or likes to think about something, and kind of where his head is with that. And then eventually he'll come to a conclusion and then bring that to me. So it's very, very opposite. But with that, I've kind of, I don't know, through a lot of work and some trials and tribulations, we've been able to come to sort of a mutual understanding, I think, of one another. And I've been able to start to like think more about the things that I want to say before I present them to him. And I think he's able to be potentially a little more emotional in the way that he tends to communicate. And so we've come to a meeting of a minds in a sense that wasn't necessarily there before. And that's been really profound for me to have been able to get there. So I'm pleased with that relationship development.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I mean, I've definitely experienced that myself, both like presently and also in the past as well, of having to adjust to another person's communication style, or kind of having to figure out like what is the middle path between your two communication styles. I feel like a lot of people in relationships, like if they are thinking actively about communication and trying to figure out like, okay, like how do we make this as best as possible, that some people kind of approach it from the outside in, thinking like, okay, well, let's find a particular technique, or it needs to look this particular way, or it has to be this particular style, when like the reality is, especially like for people who are at our age, and I mean, we're still young, but at the same time, like, like we're all like late 20s, early 30s, and have been in relationships for a while, have been developing communication patterns for a while, that it's kind of more about figuring out like how to adjust the habits you already have, and like having your partner also slightly adjust the habits that they already have, and trying to find like what's the custom blend of communication that's going to work best for this particular relationship.
Yeah.
Can I share just a brief thing about our conversation yesterday, Dedeker?
Sure. I guess. I don't know why not. I don't know what you're going to say.
So Dedeker and I were just having a Skype conversation last night. And at one point we kind of fell into this territory that was an old pattern from like a year ago. Something that we, had friction over, that we would fight over or get upset about. And we started talking about it, and it triggered a lot of those things for both of us. But what was really cool is that we had this moment of both like realizing it and seeing it, and not just following down that same path again, but being like, hey, hang on, like let's back up and talk about how this is different now from how it was before. Yeah. And it led to some really profound, at least for me, some pretty profound conversation and pretty profound understanding of some stuff that I didn't know that you were going through at the time, and maybe vice versa as well. But just kind of like this kind of I keep using the word profound, but like this really deep conversation and understanding that we had through that, rather than just having it be something that we thought about again or felt heard about again. And that was a really cool sort of example of that, like understanding like what's happening in our conversation and what have we learned in this past year about how each other communicate that we can apply right now was a really cool thing.
I think it's interesting the triggers that people tend to have in their relationships and like the baggage that occurs from past relationships. And then it's really lovely being able to view those and move on from them. Like it seems as though the two of you are doing. And I feel like I've been doing that more in my current relationship as well. Like there are things that kind of irk you, but when you can view them for what they are and then just say, I'm not going to get triggered by that. I'm going to do the opposite of what I usually, the pattern that I usually take. And it's good. It's good to be able to move on.
Yeah, when you can step back from like letting that just like run the show,
Right.
and you and you can actually kind of hop into the driver's seat on it. Like it's a really good feeling.
Yeah.
It takes a while to get there.
It does. I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish it would be instantaneous, but unfortunately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is
do
it
you
my
have
turn
one?
now?
Oh yeah.
Gosh. I mean, if I'm looking at the past year specifically, I mean, this past year has coincided with me traveling for pretty much the entire past year. I came back home to California for about 3.5 weeks, but with the exception of that, like I've just been on the road. And so many things have happened. Like the biggest thing that stands out to me is writing the book, which is still something that I don't really believe has actually happened still. Before writing the book, I was like, oh my God, how am I going to write a book? And then like during writing the book, I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to write a book? And then like after writing the book, I'm like, oh my God, how did I write a book? Like I'm still kind of in this, what? And that's probably never going to go away. But that process, I mean, God, it taught me so much about myself, about like what my neuroses are, what my hangups are, like what are the things I feel confident about, what are the things I feel insecure about. As well as, good Lord, teaching me so much about just the topic of relationships and the topic of polyamory. Like realizing the more that I would research and the more that I would write, like it felt like it just kept getting broader and broader and broader, and realized like this is such a big topic. And I think the most important thing that I learned was that like it really is impossible to pick out like, okay, well this is the one flawless tactic that will work for jealousy, or this is like the one flawless tactic for like having a difficult conversation with your partner, or these are like the 3 things that you need to do in order to have a great open relationship. Like so much of it is dependent on context, so much of it is dependent on the people involved, and that's not a bad thing. Like, it just means there's this wide variety in the world of all the different ways that people find happiness. And while you can pick out definitely the things that will probably be unhealthy or the things that probably won't work, but then outside of that, like, it's kind of like anyone's game. And so I guess it's kind of like the more I tried to know, the more I realized how little I did know. And the more I had to be like Socrates and realize that the only true knowledge is knowing that you know nothing.
Jeez.
So I guess, writing the book was kind of a humbling experience for me, which is ironic for, being someone who's frequently consulted with as like a poly expert, has really made me become more humble and realizing how much I don't know. I think that's the main thing for me.
Yeah.
You still know a lot though.
Sure.
I know some stuff.
Yeah.
I know some things.
Yeah. That's really cool. I feel like I'm constantly, just in my life in general, learning more and more about how much I don't know. That's definitely,
maybe that's part of becoming an adult. Like,
I guess because
becoming
I
more
remember
of
being
an
a
adult.
teenager, and feeling like I knew fucking everything.
Yeah, because that's what being a
what they say,
teenager is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gosh. Yeah, I mean, did you guys ever hear about the 4 steps to mastery, or like the 4 stages of mastery?
Yeah, they talked about
I
that
don't
a
know if I
lot
know
in,
that.
in acting school. It's initially that you have God, what is it, Jase? What do they call it? Like right at the beginning?
Right at the beginning, you
It's
have the teenager thing, which is that unconscious, unconscious unknowing, or what is it?
It's
But basically, it's that you don't know anything, and you don't know that you don't know anything, so you think you know
unconscious.
stuff.
So you think you know everything. Interesting.
And then the
it's
next
conscious
step
unknowing.
is conscious unknowing.
Yeah.
So now you're aware that you don't know shit about shit.
Yeah.
And then the third step is that you learn about stuff, and so now you consciously know that you know how to do those things.
Yeah.
And then the last step is unconscious knowing.
Yeah.
So now you know those things, and you don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah.
And this is more for like specific actions, not for life as a whole. Exactly.
But it could be. Yeah.
But yeah, like for learning a specific skill or a specific thing, it's that progress to eventually knowing things without having to think about it. But that at the beginning you are that teenager about everything who isn't aware that they don't know shit.
Yeah.
So
There you go.
yeah. Oh man. Gosh.
All right, Jason.
Is this my go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your turn.
Yeah. So in this past year, I have changed a lot about my job situation. Like I got a different job that has allowed me to take time to travel. I've taken 2 trips to Japan now with Dedeker, once for 2 months and once for 1 month.
Yeah.
All within this past year. And those trips too have really, not only were they like hugely transformative for Dedeker and myself in terms of our relationship and really like understanding a lot of things and kind of entering a new chapter or a new phase in that relationship, but also in kind of understanding what my own priorities are in my life in general and in my relationships, which has, you know, come out in terms of like, what are the relationships that I want to be having? You know, what do I want my daily or weekly life to look like? And I kind of had some ideas of that before that I think I just kind of held on to for a long time. I think a lot of them were just sort of inherited ideas that I'd been taught by whatever, by society or by my parents or by my friends growing up or something about what I thought I wanted to do and be and what my life would look like that would make me the happiest. And I feel like I've kind of unlocked the ability to look at those things in a more, I don't know, just kind of in a new light, in a new way, and really question those and go, well, what are the things that really do make me feel the most fulfilled, and not just what I thought I wanted or what I've thought of as a goal, but rather like, what's the life I want to have? Like, what's the purpose of the goals? Like, what is the life that I'm actually trying to have?
Yeah.
And it's led to, you know, a lot of stuff like decluttering my life, which I'm still in the process of doing because I had a lot of shit. Still have a lot of shit.
I mean, like tangible shit, like getting rid of clutter in your space.
Right. Actually, just like clutter and just stuff that I've kind of accumulated that I've been dragging around through this world. I know that anyone who's lived in one place for a while, you realize how much shit you accumulate.
Yeah.
I've been
Especially when you move. My God.
Yeah.
Right, like usually when you move is when you get rid of a lot of stuff, and when you've been in a place for a while, like I've been in this place now for about 5 years, and you accumulate so much stuff and you don't even know it because you haven't had to move.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of really getting the sense of like, what are the things that really bring me happiness, and what are the things that I really use and really need, and what things am I keeping around just for this, like, maybe I'll use this thing, but kind of at what cost of having all that clutter and everything.
Yeah.
And then also learning to, like, a big thing that I feel like I'm still in the process of, but is this learning how to not be ashamed for wanting the things that I want. whether
big.
those are things that I want from my relationships, or they're things that I want sexually, or they're things that I want from my job, or that I want to be able to do in life.
Yeah.
Like kind of not feeling this sort of inherent shame or guilt for even wanting these things, because a lot of people will tell you either like, well, of course you want those, but no one gets those.
Yeah.
Or like, well, you can only get those if you're a shitty person, or like you would only want those if you're an asshole or something like that. But
Right.
in all those areas, really getting away from that and kind of accepting myself for who I am and allowing myself to want the things that I want, and not feeling like I have to take the extreme stance of like, well, fuck everyone and whatever they think, I don't care, because I do care. But then also not taking the other extreme of like thinking like, well, I need to find a way to do it that everyone's okay with, but kind of realizing there's this middle path of realizing like, yeah, some people are going to look at my life and be like, fuck you, you think you can have your cake and eat it too, or or whatever it is, or think like, well, of course you want those things because you're X, because you're a man, or because you're white, or because you're a fucking hippie, or because you're a polyamorous person, or because you're a millennial, or there's like so many boxes you can get put into to kind of invalidate the things that you believe or think or that you want. And just kind of learning to accept that I am who I am and not just those labels that define me.
That's
a good
that's
one.
big.
Okay.
I think that's an important realization for anybody to make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the people who are going to be putting you in those boxes anyways are probably not the people that you want to spend, waste your time on. I don't know.
Sure, yeah, I guess.
I mean, yeah.
Probably not the people who are going to be giving you what you want.
No.
well,
for sure.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
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 Okay,
there.
so
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if we're going to kind of end out this episode thinking about what we see for the future,
Ooh.
Are we
Multiamory.
setting affirmations?
I would love to set the intention of becoming multiplanetary within the next year. I know it's a big ask. It's a big ask. It's a real big ask.
Yeah.
But I'll put it out there. Maybe the more realistic thing I would love to see for Multiamory, I would love to see us pull off like Multiamory Con. Like,
Yeah,
small
you guys
or
have been
big.
talking about that. That's cool.
I would love to see us pull off some kind of event or some way to like meet up with people in person.
Sure.
I think that would just be so much fun.
That would be cool.
That's definitely something that I'd like to set as an intention and I think it could be a number of things like Multiamory Con or other sort of events or real life communities that are not just on the interwebs. But like something to just kind of like really connect with people and really grow that tangible community out in the world. And then also I would say to also set the intention of really having some big things happen this year in terms of getting this message out to people, to more people, to really becoming a place that people know that a safe place that people can come to learn about polyamory or to think about relationships. That's something that I definitely would like to put out there as an intention.
Okay.
I just
All right. What about you?
I do want us to reach 100,000 downloads by the end of this year, which I think is very
we will.
doable.
We'll do that in like
We will.
2.5 months.
Dream bigger.
Yeah.
Dream bigger.
But besides that, yeah, I just want the scope of like what we do and who we are to become bigger and to reach more people, which I know has been like the overarching theme. And how we tend to do that or how we're going to do that, I don't know specifically, but there's some potentially exciting things in the works, and maybe something fun will happen. So we'll figure that out. But I'm putting it out there that we'll get there, and that the next year will bring a lot more than what we're currently doing. Even just continuing.
All right. Thank you all so much for celebrating this 2-year Deuceversary, multiversary.
Thank you for listening to
terrible
us
twos.
talk about ourselves.
As we head into our terrible twos.
It's time for us to be like crazy and rambunctious and unapologetic about it. but also adorable sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go for that.
All right. Okay, where can the people find us?
You guys can find us on our site, multiamory.com, on Facebook, Multiamory, on Twitter, @Multiamory. I don't know. You can email us at info@multiamory.com. And then also, of course, on Patreon, patreon.com/multiamory. Those are all great places to reach us, great ways to join the community of other amazing listeners. Seriously, the best possible group of contributors, co-contributors that I could possibly ever ask for. I love all of you guys.
All right, let's make Multiamory great again, you guys.
Oh no. Okay, all right. Bye.
We mean that in
See
the
you
best
next week.
possible
Best possible way.
way.
Yes. All
Okay,
right.
goodbye.
Bye, everybody. We love you.
XOXO Gossip Girl. Bye.